G'day guys, welcome back to SuperCoach with DR and welcome to the Round 7 review. Hope you had a ripping week yourself. Look, for me, another pretty good one, climbing up the ranks slowly and a mini milestone achieved for the first time this year. I am sitting inside the top 20k. Look, certainly not where I'd like to usually be at this stage of the year, but given the fact I started all the way back at 90k, 16,567 now, I think that is actually pretty decent. So hoping to climb close to the top 10k during the next month. We'll see how we go there, but 23-22 for the round. That was a top 7% round score after a top 1% round score last week, so certainly heading in the right direction. Avoided most of the carnage, couple low scores here and there, but for the majority of players, they actually did pretty well for me this week. So I'm not going to take too much of your time during the intro. We're going to get straight into it. As I said, hope you had a great week. Let's see how the team's actually looking. Alrighty, now before we get into it, I better mention my final trades from last week. So it was out Liam Jones, out Lockie Cowan, in came Seamus Mitchell and Will Day. We'll talk about those blokes in a minute. Really happy with those trades at the end of the day. 33,500 remaining in the bank, 23 trades, and still have 3 boosts up the sleeve. I think they'll actually come in really handy. Don't want to use one this week. I'll consider it. We'll see what happens. But let's get into the team itself. Nicky Dacos, 72 points. He was actually tracking along towards 100 up until three-quarter time, but did not score a point in the last quarter. We thought this was going to happen. Benny Keys, it was pretty obvious, I think, to most coaches. But look, if you chuck the captaincy on him, you'd be certainly disappointed. But if not, it's all good because everyone's got him and you just hurt with every other coach, basically. Tommy Stewart, 123 points. Again, a fantastic game from him. Had a pretty quiet first quarter, pretty quiet last quarter, but really dominated in the middle there, quarters 2 and 3. So 123 points at the end of the day is fantastic. Just a super pick to have on your side. Zeeble, 100 points. Wow, this was disaster averted. So had a pretty quietish type first quarter, only 20 points. Actually came off, we thought, uh-oh, could be gone for the game, but managed to get his way to 100 points. That was absolutely fantastic because I thought, geez, we could have like a 30s type score on the cards here, but the man came back on, toughed it out. We know he's an absolute beast of a player, so 100 points I will take every day of the week, this week particularly from Jay-Z. Jordan Ridley, this did not look good at the start, so he was matched up on Jeremy Cameron for the first half, was following him all the way up to the ground, just taking a kick in here and there. That wasn't looking great. Second half, switched on to Tom Hawkins because he absolutely dominated Zerk Thatcher, just threw him around like a little kid, and that was actually a little bit better for Ridley and his scoring, but still nothing fantastic. 78, that's like a half-decent rookie score, isn't it, at the end of the day? So he's not a premium, what do you say about him? Just a real nothing pick. So one I'll need to luxury trade, I think. McKenna, 70 points. He was originally on my trade plans for this week, or on the chopping block this week, but with news that Daniel Rich is now out with that quaddie, he probably stays for mine, which makes my trade plans a little bit more complicated because he was going to be a pretty easy trade out. It was either him or Liam Jones last week, but sort of went with my gut. I thought that McKenna would probably score more and then, make the decision next week again whether or not to trade him out or not. Whereas Jones, I just thought a bit of a yo-yo. If he gets one of those lower type scores, and in big trouble, and he sort of saved it in the last quarter anyway, I think, from memory. So happy that I kept with McKenna at the end of the day. But yeah, big decisions this week, what to do there. Constable as well, I ended up looping, so Wilmot had the earlier game, 63. I had the option to play Seamus. Now, at this stage, his average was in the 70s, so I thought, look, I could get another 10 points here, but this is not the year to be greedy, so I ended up taking Wilmot's score was 63, and that was really good because that saved me 22 points. If I had to put Seamus on instead of Constable, would have actually lost points there, so glad I didn't try to be too greedy there. Into the midfield, Bont, Laird, Green as the 3 real uber primos there. Bont with 122, take that. That's fantastic, his 200th game. Laird, 100 points. Look, I'll take that as well, particularly this week because there was rumours that he wasn't even going to play. All of a sudden, in the last quarter, comes up that he's sub. So you're like, what on earth's going on? No. Then about a minute later, it's like, no, it's actually Saligo. So no idea what actually happened there. But really it didn't matter because he did bugger all in the last quarter. I think he was on about 93 at three-quarter time, was tracking along okay, looking for at least a nice 120, but 100 is disappointing given the fact that he was scoring really well up until the last quarter, but given the fact that if he didn't play, it would have got Matty Johnson's 53. Yeah, I've got 50 extra points basically, so not too disappointed there. Tom Green didn't actually watch this match. Who was that? So that was GWS Sydney. Didn't actually watch this game, so not sure what happened here, how he got to his 118, but cool. I'll take that every day of the week. Great to have him back in, obviously coming back from suspension last week. Now, Will Day, again, he was on track for a 120 plus at halftime. I think he was on about 65, 67 points from memory, but again, faded in the last half, particularly in the last quarter. But as I said, up until that point, pretty much did everything they wanted to see, bar lay a few more tackles. His tackle count was right down, which was a little bit disappointing. I think if that was up to its usual standards, then we are looking at a 110 plus score here. So I'm not disappointed. Very, very close to 100. I think he'll be hopefully a good D6 for me. So I'll show you what my side looks like when players are in their best position. So obviously Goulden forward, Day back, etc. Goulden really hit back, so 119. Again, like with Green, I don't actually know how he got to this score, but fantastic to see him really bounce back after that dismal score last week. I think many people actually traded him out. When I say many, I know a few people that I was speaking to said, nah, had enough of him, he's absolutely gone, and then bang, he gets 119, so he'd be pretty disappointed. But I think with picks like Goulden, you've just got to keep the faith at this stage. Hopper, disappointing with a 71. We want a 90 plus type score most weeks. I think his break even should be around that 90 mark. We'll check break evens in a minute, so will he start to lose cash? I'm not too sure, but at this stage he's not in my trade out plans. This bloke is, however, Will Setterfield. Now he's lost some money. I traded him in after his really big score. It was before the first price rise, so he has made me some cash, but just hasn't given me any fantastic on-field scores. I think there was low 90s there, which was okay, but certainly nothing fantastic. So after watching him closely during this game, I just don't think that he offers much. So he seemed really slow. When he did attend CBAs, he was more of an observer there rather than getting his hands on it. And when he did get his hands on it, let's be honest, he absolutely butchered it. So, yeah, I think he's gone at this stage for me. Originally, and I was only saying this last week, the week before, that I was planning on keeping him for a month, even up until the buys. Things change pretty quickly. You know, the eye test is a big thing, and he just didn't impress me. And I just wasn't expecting a low score such as this to have to put me in the position this early to go, look, do I have to trade him? Is he a must trade? Because I think his his break even should be around 115 plus. Just at a guess. We'll check that out in a minute. But yeah, big decisions this week. Really don't like what I see from Will Setterfield at this stage. I love what I see from this bloke. Ashy, again, some people trade him out, but a 103 and goal of the year is absolutely fantastic. How is that? I'll put a YouTube short up. And a quick one on Twitter as well. I was jumping for joy there. What a man this bloke is. And I tell you what, still a very, very good chance at winning the Rising Star. I think he's going to continue to have a phenomenal season. This was his second best score of the year. Not great opposition in Freo. No offence, Dan and my man Damo, but yeah, you know, teams are beating up on Freo at the moment. So 103, fantastic from him, and I'll keep him in my side for as long as I possibly can. Johnson, just fumbly, missed chest marks, missed targets, but career high for disposals. That's certainly a good thing against the Brisbane midfield, which is a pretty decent midfield, but going to miss 2 weeks now. Silly tackle on Zorko. Just, you know, obviously didn't get the memo like many other players this year. What do you say? Really unfortunate. Look at my bench there. Roaston, 16, he's losing money. Roberts, he's going to be out medium to long term. Things just aren't looking good. I do not have a bench there at the moment. So, yeah, I'll talk through my trades. I don't actually know what they're exactly going to be either. But I'll tell you what. Here we go. And you can see the VC on there. Rowan Marshall, 159 points. Now, I do need to give a shout out to my man, Janeth. If you watch a Swordplay podcast this week, look, and this is why it's always a good idea to tune in to the Swordplay poddy. Janeth told us why that Rowan Marshall could be a bit of a sneaky VC option for us this week. His record against Port was absolutely phenomenal. And if you look back to last week, Bailey Williams absolutely dominated Port, had 130 plus for a SuperCoach. Yeah, what do you say? You know, what do you say? It was, I won't say it was a really obvious pick. It was a bit of a risky pick, given the fact that he just hadn't really done anything special this year. Rowan Marshall is coming off a pretty disappointing game last week for, yeah, again, against weak opposition, but just had a bit of gut feel to this. And the thing for me is I always want to use Madden if I can as my loop, because that way with Constable down back, I don't have to commit to either a Wilmot or a Mitchell. You know, I can see how Wilmot goes, for example, this week and go, okay, I'm going to keep his score. And to be honest, if I had to pick between Wilmot or Mitchell, if I'd have gone with Constable as my loop, I may have even gone with Mitchell, I think. So pretty lucky there, but a pretty smart move, I think, at the end of the day. And yeah, he absolutely dominated. So it was absolutely the right week for this man to come good. And all of a sudden, he's third for total points for all ruckmen. So Darcy's second, and obviously Big Tim English is first. So I've got Darcy there, as you can see, another 114. He's just been super consistent. Look, it was another 130 type score like we've been seeing for the last 3-4 weeks, but it was a nice 114, and we can live with that. And again, for the second week in a row, did outscore Tim English. So I'm always, yeah, really happy when that's the case. So really happy with that ruck setup at the moment. I wasn't saying I was happy with Master last week, but all of a sudden, he's going to make a bit of coin, and I don't even think that I want to trade him out to Max Scorn anymore. That could be a bit of a luxury you could look to do, but why would you when Max is not looking great himself at the moment? This bloke is looking fantastic, and given the fact he's got one of the earlier games this week, I think I'm going to chuck the VC on him, because last week had a 140 plus score, another 140 from Timmy Taranto. Yeah, we know he's been a bit of a butcher of the ball, but he's getting that much of a contested pill. Yeah, he can certainly hold his head up high. Richmond as a team have certainly had a really disappointing season, but Taranto himself as an individual, I think, has done everything that could have been asked of him. So it's been a bit of a shining light for them and us in our forward lines in SuperCoach this year. Thank you very much, mate. I've got a lot more faith in you to give some real ceiling type scores. And yeah, well, that's evident, obviously, in the last two. So well done, mate. Dunkley, 109. 109's his season average, so he's been doing exactly what he's been doing, I suppose, for the year to date. Rosie didn't quite get to 100, but 96 again. Very popular pick. We've all got him. Not really worth discussing. Cogs, didn't watch this game, but 108. Don't know what's going on with my computer there, sorry. But 108. Yep, that's all good as well. Brought him in the week before with that nice 130 plus. So I've had him for, what's that? Close to 130 average, isn't it? Or 125, let's just say. So, yeah, right with that pick. But again, can't really comment on how he got there. Sheasel, this was a really nice game from him. Just sort of went up, up, up. Really consistent type stuff. So 107. The week before, we're asking now, damn, is he actually going to be a keeper? Then he comes out and does this. And we think, yeah, well, there's certainly potential again. I was a little bit scared last week, I must admit. And again, this is only one more week of data. Sorry, he didn't really cop much attention. So we probably expect when he does cop attention, he goes a little bit lower, just like a Nick Dacos. But if he doesn't, then he probably goes 100 plus. I think that's the way to look at it with Sheasel. Radaglia, his worst game in the last month. Pretty disappointing here. But when you look at my other guys here, Fergie with a 28 and Van Rooyen with a 33, then I made the right decision there by at least having him on field. But look, I'll forgive him for this. Just, yeah, you know, he's been reading the ball so well all year, but today he just looked a bit fumbly, wasn't reading it well, a lack of those intercept marks or even contested marks, so it just wasn't his day. That's okay. Fergie, yeah, I think with Big Lewis back on the side, the Ferg isn't really going to be their number one focal point anymore, so he may need to take a bit of a backseat now. We were thinking that may be a bit of an advantage to him, and again, it's only 1 week starter, but I think his break-even will be close to 50 to 60, which is a slight concern. Maybe time to move him on. And Van Rooyen, well, had a quiet first, second, third, but unfortunately, unlike last week, had a very quiet last one as well. So super disappointing. 33, particularly against North. We were thinking, hey, if you can get a 75 plus even for us against lowly North, Melbourne should dominate, as they did, and hopefully this man will dominate up forward as well. You know, super disappointing. He could have got really quickly up to 300k if he had as I said, just a 75 type score, but with a 33, all of a sudden his break even will be a lot higher than what we're expecting it to be. Still will make some money, but nowhere near as much as we were thinking in the short term. So that is the team. Now, trades. Only want to use the 2 this week. So let's have a look at break even. Originally, what's going on? Don't know why it's not showing there. Alright, don't know why it's not showing the break even there. What am I doing here? Maybe I need to... Sorry. I'll reset here. Because hopefully it will show me... Should... There we go. Alright, so... You've got McKenna here with a break even of 48. Now, as I said, with Rich out of the side now... Zorko out of the side. Now, I don't know how long it's going to be, but let's just say it's 3 weeks. Let's just make up a number, 3 weeks. I think McKenna will all of a sudden get a few more of those kickouts. No, he got Coleman back there. I think Answorth will probably just come into the side. He was a sub. I think he's a backman. He can replace Rich. But I think McKenna will get a little bit more responsibility. They've been looking to go a lot more through Rich to go out of the back line, out of the defence. Now that he's gone, I think McKenna may have a bit more of a friendly role here with Rich out of the side. So I'm pretty keen to actually keep on to him. Constable I'm just using as a loop at this stage, trying to take advantage of a Wilmot Mitchell type score. Now, the trouble with getting Moddy out this week is that this pick's looking a little bit dicey now, given the fact that Mitchell was the sub. So, I didn't even talk about him, did I? Did I talk about him on Moddy? Not really, I don't think so. I reckon he was actually looking alright, Seamus. So, I don't think he was injured. I was really surprised when he actually got subbed out because that was about halfway through the 3rd quarter. So, if he played a full game there, he's probably getting, yeah, what, a 60, would you say? Let's just say a 60. No guarantees, but I'm calling it a 60 anyway. But you're obviously not getting rid of him. Wilmot, again, with Rich and Zorko out of the side. Does that mean much when he's been playing on a wing? Maybe not. Does he go back? Does Answorth play on a wing? I'm not too sure. But I'm not too keen to trade him out. Maybe it's because he's my favourite player. I'm not too sure. Alright, then you look at the midfield there. You've got Hopper, you've got Setterfield. Setterfield, I think I want to move on. Ashcroft, I don't. Johnson, we're missing 2 weeks, but still making money with that low break even. Rouston, he's certainly ready to go, but he hasn't made anything really low in price. Roberts, probably a no. Then you got Fergie there. Yeah, so that break even's 57. Van Roon, 21. Yeah, a bit of a high one for the Rat, but I'm just planning on keeping him. I'm not even thinking about trading him. I just want to hold him for the year, basically, on my forward line. Just be a loop and some nice backup there. So what I'm thinking is Setterfield gone and probably Fergie for me. Now the really frustrating thing here, well, something good I suppose, is that I'm going to get Roberts up here, and this is nice because I do have some DPP already in my midfield, but I would like to get Roberts up here so I can actually loop these 2 scores, because, you know, you lose a little bit of faith with the Rat. And look, who knows what's going to happen with this bloke here. Will he actually get dropped? I'm not too sure. But I would like to be able to loop there. And again, it will also allow me to have my optimal forward line in there all at once if I want to bring Errol up, let's just say, instead of Matty Roberts. So the bloke, and this is a really obvious pick, I think, this week, is Cotter. So we're going to bring him in. And then we've got 644k remaining. And we want a midfielder. So actually what I'm going to do is, I'm going to, take Fergie out. I'm just going to make this one trade. And then show you my team. Because I'd be really tempted to actually get someone like a Jack Sinclair, who I want to get, and I'm almost sure that I can't do, is I want to get Clary in. That was the plan this week. Bugger it. And I could still do it with my original trade plans, and that was Setterfield out and McKenna out as well. But as I said, I'm really keen on keeping on to McKenna. So, yeah, 359k, got a lot in the bank. So, if I go, let's just say day back, I just want to show you what this team should actually look like if everyone's in their proper position. Because I don't obviously want Dane Goulden as midfielders. Oh, sorry, I can't do it, so I can't with that. Alright, so let's just leave Chinkwara there. Alright, so as you can see, with Goulden coming in here eventually, I've pretty much, if I count Sheasel as a keeper, pretty much completed my forward line. I could bring Zeeble in there and swap with Sheasel, but same type thing, you know. Ridley, you know, I suppose you've got to keep him for now. So there's sort of one spot here. I'm counting him as real luxury if I actually can. So that's the sort of danger with going like a Sinclair. I'm sort of passing on like a Dawson, a Sicily. I'm happy with Sinclair, I'm happy with Sicily, but not having Dawson there really does concern me. I could always have Dawson as a midfielder. Who knows? But I really think at the end of the day that I really need to focus on beefing up this midfield. So that's why I really need to focus on midfielder this week, and that's why I wanted Clary. So what I'll do is, so I'll get Roberts up here, and then I'm looking at a midfielder. You know, with Cogs the other week, I'm down 400. What's this, 8 grand. I was just expecting more from Setterfield this week. Super unfortunate. I was expecting more from Fergie, obviously, as well. But at the same time, McKenna was going to be that bloke. So I can't complain because it was going to be McKenna and Setterfield, and I could still do that for Oliver. But I don't want to do it. So look at the other options here. I'm just going to sort by price, highest price. Alright, so you've got the Bond, who I've got. Jordan Dawson I can't afford. So that's, spewing. So the two blokes I'd really like to have in Dawson, Oliver, I just can't afford. I can get Lockie Neal down. Any player from Lockie Neal down. So Neal, I just don't have a lot of faith in at the moment. And I'm using almost all my cash there. You've got Caleb Sarong. He's been playing really well as a pod. 9.2, certainly realistic. But again, Oliver, what's that, 52? You know, you're talking less than a 40k difference for Oliver. That's so frustrating. Do I want to pay up that much for Sarong? See, Lib has been playing really well. Coming off concussion, don't know how I feel about that. Then we're going down to Walsh. Third game, looking good. Tracker, not really interested in. Millie, you can't. Paddy Cripps, 590. So you're getting under 600k now. 153. He's an option. Jack McRae I don't love. Zeret. So he only scored 91, Zeret. I know a few people actually jumped on him last week. I'd actually really like to jump on him around round 10. That's when that really nice fixture comes up. I think it's like Richmond, is it North, West Coast, something like that. Do you go early on him? Still very good value, 4.7%. He's certainly an option. So Zeret's an option, and I'll still have like 60... just over 60k in the bank, so I don't mind that price point there. Dangerfield, I just don't trust his age. Jelly's been disappointing. You're always just going to go through pain there. LDU wouldn't go near him. Darcy Parish, see, this bloke gets so much the ball, but 108. Well, it's not a really disappointing score, but it is if you look at his stat line, if you look at his stat sheet. Again, maybe around 10 pick. Noah Anderson, really nice, 144. Stepped up without Took. But I couldn't go there. Chera. Shorty, so... do you go a pod Backman? Because you know that... well, hopefully he's going to get that DPP status. Could be a pod move. Probably not. Tom Green I've got. Jack Steele, 537. That would leave him with over 100k. 126. Yeah, he got... we've only seen 1 week's form, haven't we? Am I going too tight going Jack Steele? Who else is his competition? Mills I don't have faith in at 80. Pendlebury didn't play. Butters is a forward, no. Treloar wouldn't go there. DeGoey with a 67. He's been pretty good, but Cogs you wouldn't go. Alright, now you're getting to the Kellys, Brayshaws, Blitzer, Stays. Okay, no, I'm not going this low in the midfield. I'm not going this low. The lowest I'm looking at, I think, has got to be from a Jack Steele. Jack Steele. I think he tackled well. Lots of contested peel. But we've only seen... Alright, so what have we seen so far? We've seen a 90, a 96. That 54, it was almost tagging Paddy Cripps in that second half. And then that 126, that really nice 126 against Port. Alright, stats. So what did this look like? So 10 kicks, 18 handballs, so 28 touches, 11 tackles. This is what I wanted to see, 11 tackles. So he's back there, a couple of frees for, a couple against, a goal. And I reckon that 15 to 18 of those were contested from memory. So that's a really good game, isn't it? So you look at, let's just even say 15. That's still over 50% contested. Almost 30 touches, 11 tackles. That's a plus 10 there. That's looking pretty good. But it's only the one game. How's he going to get used? What I like is this here. So he's coming up against North Adelaide, GWS Hawthorn, Sydney Richmond, then Brisbane, then West Coast. And I'm pretty sure that I need someone extra on that buy as well. When I was talking to Jonathan on the Swordplay poddy, we worked out that, well, he asked me the question, how many players do you have from this particular buy? And I think I needed an extra. It was like an extra Freo or St Kilda. Oh, I'm taking a bit of a leap of faith, aren't I? Am I just going for name here in history in Jack Steele? Is he a fake Jack Steele? He's not the beast that he once was. We know that Ross Lyon wanted him to be more of a running type player this year. I didn't like the fact that he'd lost that muscle, that beef. But, you know, I need to go bargain hunting. And believe me, if I could go to Oliver in one trade here, I would. I would in an absolute heartbeat. And should I be finding a way, you know, use a boost, get one of these other duds out and just get Oliver in this week. Because you need the great man in. Maybe, you know, it could be a case of, you know, getting Jack Steele in is an absolute fake. He goes back to those first three games, you know, 90, 96, 54, and Setterfield steps up, gets some extra CBAs and actually scores a 90 plus himself. Oh, there's times where you go too tight, but with North this week, it's, you know, his break-even's around a 125, Jack Steele. With North this week, Adelaide, GWS Hawthorn. Do you tag a Jack Steele in round 11? Connor Nash, someone? I don't know. I think that's a pretty decent run. I might do it. I am shattered that I can't go Clary. Is he going to be close to top 8 though, Jack Steele? What are we looking at for a top 8 average? So 115. 115. All right. So I'm taking Taranto out. I'm taking Dawson out. So we're going Petrarca Daniel to 113 at the moment. And I'm just taking those two blokes out because we've got them on other lines. Then you look at Nel DU, who's, geez, he's sort of turned to trash, hasn't he? Then you got the great Rory Laird. Okay, who's at a 110, and you're expecting that he'll still finish top 8. Then you got Josh Dunkley, who's 13. Then your Tom Greens. So 110, you surely still can do that. You know, I'm saving not quite 100k on your libbers, but I'm saving a fair bit of coin there. The unfortunate thing is when you look for Jack Steele on the average list, then, jeez, you know, you're going low. Here he is there, so 91.5. Let's do it. Sorry, so this round review's going on for ages, isn't it? Oh, I want Clary, but, you know, and I'm an advocate for keeping the hopper types, but could you even, you know, I think there's probably a way to get to Oliver next week. You add that 100k here. Let's just say he gets his break even, which may be true, maybe not. 550. Call that 550. You're looking at making another 100k somewhere, which may be possible, but that's how I'm going to go in for now, I think. Now, how's the team actually going to set up this week? So, well, we certainly need Steel on field, don't we? So, we go Steel on field there. I'll probably most likely go with the Rat, yes. I don't want Day down back. Moddy. Well, I think the smart thing to do, would be to probably, because Chincotta's playing early against Brisbane, so I think you get Moddy and Chincotta. Cincotta? What is it? I still don't know. So we get these two blokes as emergencies because they're playing, obviously, the first game here. I think that's a smart thing to do. And then you've got Constable who you can use. Alright, so I'm actually going to do that. Alright, so you've got Constable there, so we'll see how Wilmot goes. If that's a bit of a shocker, and Seamus is named, and this is always dicey because who knows with the sub, that you can get him on. Again, you can just choose to go Day for Constable, not worry about that, and then take this score here. So I think that's probably the smart thing to do. And then, and then up forward, you've got, so Roberts is at loop, Rat, and so Rat's playing early. Yep, so what I'll do here is, so this is cool, so I can actually use a loop on each line if I want, so this is really good this week. So yeah, so I can loop him, he's no good, run the dice with Van Ruin, which is going to be very scary. He can come on, or the Pepsi Max King can come on, or two of them can come on if I really want to. So that's how I'm going to roll, I think, for now. And again, captain, vice captain, I reckon I'm going to go with Timmy this week. A nice early game. I'll be able to use Madden there. Darcy. And then who's the Bond playing? Yeah, look, the Bond's just always going to be in my plans, I think. So that's probably how I'm going to run, I think. Timmy Taranto as that VC early on the Saturday. I'll be able to use Madden as that loop if I need to. So I'll just chuck him there for now. Keep my opponents guessing. Unless you watch my videos and you're coming up against me. You know what I'm doing. And I think that's how the team will play out. So that's it for now, guys. As I said, Spew and I can't get Oliver. Look, I'm not dead set on Jack Steele. We haven't seen a lot from him so far this year, but coming up against North this week, we know he's been a premium of the past. He's at a cheap price. We know his break-even is pretty much what he scored last week, so there's a few positives, a fair few risks. Am I going bargain shopping? Let me know if I should just use a trade, another boost, get an absolute out-and-out premium in, get a Dawson in or an Oliver in. But if not, if you think this is a pretty smart move, going cheap again and then banking that 100k, looking to use that next week, let me know also. So take care, guys. All the best, and I'll see you soon for the Swordplay Poddy as well as the Stocky for this round as well. Cheers, bye.